there's a cake monster in this. Like, what is it at the moment with me finding things in horror movie that are either actual cake or look like cake? There's been a change in the schedule again, but what's new here with my channel? So I decided, as Frank and Zed will have to wait for a little while, if you saw the post on my community page, you will know why. I thought, how about we go for another movie, which hardly anybody else seems to have heard of instead, which is How to Kill Monsters from 2023, because Lovecraft monsters, British humour, and a giant killer cake. Yep, sounds like something I would watch. But if you don't know anything about How to Kill Monsters from 2023, let me quickly fill you in. How to Kill Monsters from 2023 is a British horror comedy. Jamie Lancaster is the sole survivor of a blood-drenched massacre at a remote cabin in the woods. Claiming that her friends were torn apart and eaten by horrific monsters, she is arrested by the local police and locked up for a crime she didn't commit. When the entire police station is ripped from our reality and thrown into a nightmarish dimension of Lovecraftian monsters, Jamie must team up with a bunch of rookie cops and lawmakers to hack and slash their way through the army of monsters. If you're new here, I'm Hannah, but I go by Hordes online, and if you're not new, welcome back. I talk about horror movies here on my channel on Mondays and Fridays, but as always, when it comes to watching movies, I am now going to go and watch How to Kill Monsters off camera. So that way, if you two decide that you want to watch this movie, nothing will be spoiled for you, because nobody wants to watch a movie that you've just watched somebody else watch from start to finish, because then you're going to know exactly what happens. And I keep it spoiler free here on my channel, because nobody, and I mean nobody, likes spoilers.
There are no such thing as ghouls, ghosts, goblins, or monsters.
Little side note that I want to add in here as well quickly. Some of you may know that I love the Boulet Brothers Dragula. Like, with all my heart and soul, it's the sort of drag that I love. And season 2 of Titans was just announced. It is starting in October on the 7th. And I just need more people to go and watch Dragula so I can talk about Dragula with everybody. And I just want to know, like, if I did a special Sunday video just while Dragula is airing, talking about my thoughts and opinions and recapping the episode, like, would anybody be actually interested in this? I can put it on my main channel, or I can put it over on Patreon, you know, for if less of you are interested. I just want to know. I just need more people to talk about Dragula, and I can't wait to find out who's actually going to be on Titans, because if Cynthia isn't here, there's the door, bitch. How dare you miss the opportunity?
There's the door, bitch!
So on to the review section. You give me people in monster suits and puppetry and all of this good stuff, I'm already sold. Like, this movie, there's hardly any CGI. I think there's one big CGI moment that I can think of, but I don't know how the hell you would do that moment without CGI, but men in monster suits and giant puppets, immediately I'm on board.
I'm ready, I'm ready.
The movie opens with our main character Jamie sitting in a police interview sort of room, being questioned about what has previously happened at the cabin in the woods. You then jump back a couple of hours to find out exactly what happened in the cabin in the woods setting when her boyfriend's old college bestie friendies try to sacrifice her to summon H.P. Lovecraft's, like, entire works. Like, they're not just being specific, they're like, we'll have whatever you want to send with the demon stick that we've managed to find. All of this happens in the first 3 minutes, and then the rest of the movie takes place in the police station and the lockup cells. The woman in charge of everything is just trying to have a retirement party, and things go horribly wrong there as well. Like, there's a lot going on in a not very long movie, which is definitely a bonus. This is the third movie by Stuart Sparks and his writing partner Paul Butler. They also wrote Book of Monsters and I think it's The Creature Below, but this one is another one of the standalones. You could probably pair this with Book of Monsters as a duo. They're not related to each other in the slightest, but together they would make a really good, like if you're doing back-to-back movies, those two movies back together. Start with Book of Monsters and then watch How to Kill Monsters.
Scooby-Doo, take note.
I really enjoyed all the practical effects in this movie. I like I said at the beginning, I can appreciate a movie that says, we are low budget, but we're going to do everything as practically as possible without relying on, like, really dodgy CGI that looks like you've got it off something like Mixkit, you know, the free green screen clips. So, like, there's a cake monster in this. Like, what is it at the moment with me finding things in horror movies that are either actual cake or look like cake? There is the one practical thing that I think could possibly look a little bit better is the magic one stick thing, which certainly looks like it's made out of papier-mâché. That's the thing that I want to, like, no, like, everything else don't have a problem with, but that is a high school, not even GCSE art project. No.
Electric chair.
Now, this is where I'm like, oh, this part of the movie doesn't work for me, and that is the humour. Now, humour is just as subjective as horror is, and the humour in this is definitely not my taste. It is very, like, how do I describe it? It's very British, but it's very, if you've ever seen The Mighty Boosh, it is very much that sort of humour. I never got into The Mighty Boosh back in, like, the early 2000s. It just wasn't for me. It was just that little bit too, like, cringy and goofy and a bit, like, out there for my... Yeah, it's very that. If you've seen The Mighty Boosh and you like The Mighty Boosh, you will like the humour in How to Kill Monsters. But like I said, it just wasn't for me. I found myself being like, oh no, and cringing an awful lot. It was very that for me. So, all I can say, like I said, if you like The Mighty Boosh, you will probably like How to Kill Monsters.
Might have summoned up a tiny demon. Demonette.
Also, if you like H.P. Lovecraft cosmic horror, like really like H.P. Lovecraft cosmic horror, this might not be like super cosmic horror for you. Yes, it is still like H.P. Lovecraft and it is cosmic horror, but it's very like mild, I would say, in its cosmic horror. They open an alternative dimension at one point and like that's when the monsters come through, but I don't remember H.P. Lovecraft ever doing a movie or a book about a killer cake. Which is just one of the monsters that you're going to meet in this. It's just the one that stands out for me the best. The hen party that's also in prison with main character Jamie, besides Ruth and the bride, the other two, I've met those girls in high school and I really don't want to meet them again later on in life now. If you went to school in the UK in anything from like 2003 to 2010, I want to say, when I was in high school, that kind of time period, you have met these girls. But they, back then, were like bleach blonde, orange faced, white neck, nude lip. They were those girls.
And
in the end, I am actually going to give How to Kill Monsters from 2023 a 3 out of 5 stars. I love all the practical effects, but the humour, like I said, just wasn't it for me. And in a horror comedy, I need it to be equal. I need the horror to land for me, I need the comedy to land for me, and if one of them misses, like, I can't really give it more than like a 3 or a 2.5, but the practical effects in this is what is going to boost it up from a 2.5 up to a 3, because like I keep saying, there's a cake monster in this and that's how you win me over. But my opinion isn't the only one that matters, which begs the question, should you personally watch How to Kill Monsters from 2023? If you like your horror movies flavoured with final girls that may or may not be the final girl, H.P. Lovecraft inspired like cosmic horror, cops that aren't very good at doing their jobs, hen parties that are bickering with each other, or bachelorette parties for my Americans, or cake monsters, or anything that is listed here, then you will probably like How to Kill Monsters from 2023. So there you have it, my initial thoughts and my review for my first time watching How to Kill Monsters from 2023. And if you've also seen this movie, I would love to know what your thoughts and opinions are on it down in the comments section down below. As always, I will leave a link to justwatch.com so you can find out where it is streaming in your country. And I will say to lots of people, if you use Opera, the browsing they have a built-in VPN, and it turns out that a lot of the websites that this movie is streaming on, if you use that VPN, you can pretty much watch them wherever you are in the world. So You can thank me later for that one. If you would like to know where else you can find me, I am also over on Instagram and Letterboxd at Hordes of Horror, where I post every single horror movie that I watch, not just the ones that I talk about here on YouTube. But speaking of YouTube, I'll be back on Monday with another solo movie review. And at the start of the year, did a list of 25 movies that I wanted to knock off of my backlog in 2025, and so far it is not going that well, in all honesty. So I'm using it as an excuse to watch another one of those movies, because I already know that the Horde loves an 80s movie. So we are watching Dead Time Stories from 1986, a horror anthology based on fairy tales. So, without further ado, I'm going to stop waffling on now. Leave me your opinions, and if you want me to do a Dragula recap, because part of me thinks I'm going to do it anyway, but I'd like some feedback. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. A special thank you though to my regenerators here within the Horde for their support over on Patreon.